Good evening, my friends, and thank you for joining us once again for our bi-weekly Dharma Talk and live stream here at the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center here in Brainerd, Minnesota, central Minnesota, if you're not familiar with the location. Today is, I was about to say January, it's June 13th, 2022. It's about 6 p.m. in the central time zone, and I sincerely and openly thank you for joining us live, or perhaps you're watching this later on the replay, right? And graciously appreciative of the precious time that you spend with us. Whether it's live or recorded, or whether it's a guided meditation or one of our video productions on living a mindful life. And I certainly am grateful for all of the support that you continuously show. And so I have a special announcement about that towards the end. Tonight's topic is unfolding your inner Buddhahood. And it's very important that we recognize what we have inside of us as Buddha-like. Right? So we call it our Buddhahood. And I will talk about that more as we go along, but as our typical format, why don't we start off with our nourishing and explorative and rewarding guided meditation. Tonight will be on extending generosity. So go ahead and get in your comfortable position, whatever works best for you. And so let's begin by taking a moment, right? Get your body into that comfortable position. You can sit down or lay down, whatever works best for you is absolutely ideal. And if you're sitting down, you may close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus, just looking downward a few feet in front of you. Perhaps you like to keep your eyes closed. That's perfectly fine. And breathe in. Pause. And slowly exhale, either through your nose or through your mouth. Perfectly fine. And I invite you to allow a half smile to rest on your face as well. Allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. Softening your belly as you begin to settle in. Still sitting up nice and regally, but relaxed in the shoulders. Breathe in. Pause. And slowly exhale. And let's meditate on extending generosity to all living beings. Recall this morning the moment that you awoke from your refreshing sleep. Try to, if you can, remember what was your first thought, or what was your first action. Did you immediately read some social media? Perhaps you read an email. Did you think about what bills were due? Or the chores you needed to complete? Perhaps you thought about what you would wear today. When we wake up each morning, we are given the gift of life. And life is a generous gift that we receive. So maybe we could think, what will we do with that gift today? Breathe in. Pause. Slowly exhale. Next, go ahead and bring to mind the image of a child playing with some of their favorite toys. Maybe you're at a park or at a playground. It could be a child that is yours, or maybe have some type of significant relationship to you. It could be a child that you don't even know. They're just playing with their toys. They see you sitting there with no toys in hand, and they see that you're not included in that valuable, precious playtime that they are experiencing. They bring over a toy. Could be one of their favorites, and they offer it to you. They are inviting you to connect with them. They offered you a very precious item of theirs and unselfishly gave it to you. This action is pure generosity. They expected nothing in return because they knew you had no toy to offer them. In giving to you, they felt the joy of sharing, the joy of helping. In giving to you, you felt the joy of them giving and of you receiving. When we are generous, all beings share in this delight. Generosity uplifts both beings involved. Breathe in. And breathe out. When we give with no expectation of receiving, in return, both beings are the recipients of joy. Joy in the moment before the giving. Joy in the moment of giving. Joy in the recollection of giving. Be generous. Go ahead and begin to open your eyes slowly and to reorientate yourself to your surroundings before moving around or standing up. And with that, I wish you all peace and ease. All right, so generosity. Go ahead. If you want to get your tea or water, go right ahead. It's getting warm where I am, even in Minnesota. I had to go to a little cooler drink, just some nice well water. Oops, that's pretty loud. So when we talk about unfolding our Buddhahood, we have to understand, or at least have a definition of what Buddhahood is. And so Buddhahood is the state of an awakened being who has found the path to the easing of suffering, or the cessation of suffering, and no more learning. It's the ultimate plateau, the ultimate awakening. So we can begin to unfold our Buddhahood by being generous, by working on generosity, cultivating that. And a couple different forms of schools of thought in Buddhism. And the one we'll kind of consider today is Mahayana Buddhism. And here, The path is complete Buddhahood, right? Once we get that um, bodhisattva within us. And it's so that one may benefit all sentient beings by teaching them the path of cessation. Whereas in the other form of Buddhism, it's the one person, right? The one individual in the Theravada Buddhism. It's the one individual working on themselves. But in the Mahayanas, it's kind of give that up to some degree. And we work towards benefiting all life, all sentient beings on their path so that they can experience that cessation or the stopping of suffering. And so one of the most important steps or traits that we can learn to cultivate is generosity. It's generosity. And to kind of recap a little bit from that guided meditation, right, with the child and the toy, right? It could be any child, niece, nephew, the little boy or girl down the street, some kids at the playground. They just lovingly and without prompt shares a toy with you, or perhaps their food, right? Little children love to share. They really do. They're very generous. We'll talk about different stages of as we get a little bit older, and why that may stop. But that little child, they see you suffering, and they may think that you're bored, don't have a toy to play with. That's their world, so they give it to you. Or they have some delicious food, whatever it is, right? Applesauce, pudding, string beans, whatever it is, right? And they immediately do their best to ease your suffering by sharing it with you, with no desire of a reward or some type of reciprocal action. It's just a pure act of generosity on their part. And many times we've probably seen this as well. Many times that children will offer something to a complete stranger, someone that they don't even know. Reminded of seeing a video recently. Some child just playing very playfully with somebody on an airplane. They reached their hands back behind the seat and just having a good time. What happens to that generosity as we get older? Well, we mimic what we see. We mimic what we see in society, perhaps even our parents, other kids at school, movies, television. And society tells us that more greed, right, is better. And that's sad that we have to feel that way, that we have to hoard, we have to greed, we have to stockpile. And we also hear that the world is cruel and doesn't care. And some examples, think about a homeless person or an addict or those of lesser means. How do we view them? Or how does some people in our society view them? Perhaps they view them as lazy, right? Or they minimize their importance. They minimize their humanity, their contribution, what they really could, if given the proper chance, the viewpoint. And so we kind of, society views them as less deserving. But the world is an awfully big place. It's huge. And to say it doesn't care minimizes the good qualities of many organizations and the people within those organizations showing up day in and day out to help those who society may deem as less deserving. That's a very charitable act. It's a very generous act that these organizations do to help society along. But to say that the world doesn't care, it also minimizes the generosity of individuals like you. Think about a time when you were generous to a stranger, or maybe even an organization. Maybe there was some organization, along the roadside collecting coins, your spare change, for maybe a food bank or a clothing shelter for people who have less. You did something. You put in your spare change. Just whatever you had in your little coin holder. Doesn't have to be much. That's generosity. That is unfolding your inner Buddhahood. You knew that you aren't. What are you going to get in return? By giving them a few coins, maybe even a few dollars. Maybe there is a family that's stranded at a gas station trying to get a fresh start. Or maybe it's a single dad or a single mom leaving an unhealthy situation, and you help them out. A few dollars for gas or a meal or something. But if we think and explore those acts of generosity a little bit more in-depthly, how does our mind and body react when we are generous? What do we do? How do we feel? Joyful. You did something noble. You did something positive for someone that maybe you knew, maybe you don't know, but you felt joyful within you. And there's a quote by the Buddha that I would like to share with you on generosity. And he states that, or he teaches us that generosity brings happiness at every stage of its expression. We experience joy in forming the intention to be generous. We experience joy in the actual giving of something. And we experience joy in remembering the fact that we have given. And so all these describe all of the benefits of being generous in the future, right? giving something, preparing to give something, brings joy. I am getting ready to help another human being. It says a lot about you. It says a lot about your inner Buddhahood right away. I am actually giving you something. I am opening up my vulnerability to you. That's a joyful act because we are opening up how we feel, that we are generous, that we are caring towards someone. And then we can also just, recall on that moment, not live there, right? We don't live in that moment forever, but wow, I just helped somebody. That is a good feeling. That's something that we can do every morning, right? Every morning when we wake up, we are given a gift of life. And so we have many opportunities to share that gift in many ways of being generous, not just monetarily. It could be a simple action as holding a door open. It could be as simple as saying, "Good morning, I recognize you." That's generosity. So to begin unfolding, you are the innate Buddhahood. It's already within you, right? You had it as a child, as an infant. Just that generosity, right? It just starts off with just being generous. There's nothing more to it. You have something. You can share it, even if it's just a little. You can share that generosity. And that shows on a much more profound level that the world is not uncaring and that the world sees you and that you see those individuals in the world. That is how you can unfold, begin to unfold that wonderful Buddhahood inside you. So try it. Keep practicing. Keep unfolding. Don't stop being generous. Doesn't matter what that return, if you get that immediate return or not. That's not even important. Just be generous. That's how we make the world that better place. So special announcement, special news I would love, I'm about to share with you. Very, very happy to share this. I am glad to say that all of our activities, whether it's a retreat, whether it's a course, whether it's a Sangha, whether it's, the healing of the veterans or new beginnings, any one of the Sanghas, whether it's the teen mindfulness retreat, whether it is a couples retreat or the private meditation centers, all of them free, just a small donation, whatever you like. That is our way of being generous to you. The Dharma should not be kept from anyone for any reason. And I am so happy to share that with you. We are totally on donations, 100%. We don't apply for grants purposefully. And you don't even need to donate. You just come sit. If you want to take a class, you take that class, that resiliency class. You want to sit with us for a Sangha, you sit with us for a Sangha. You want to come to that teen retreat, as long as you're a teenager, you're welcome to come along. No restrictions, none whatsoever. Just join us. Just register so I know you're coming and I can prepare. And that's all it is. I'm so happy to share that with you. And if you do find these talks informative or uplifting and nourishing, please do like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and we can help others even more as we do so. With that, my friends, until our next talk in 2 weeks from now. I wish you all an evening of peace, ease, and well-being.